Opening. Whispers from the past. The story opens with a voiceover of a therapy session. Therapist. When did the nightmare start, Ms. Keller? Alyssa. Keller. It's not a nightmare if you never wake up from it. Cut to static. Distorted images of trees, blood on leaves, and a house silhouetted against a stormy sky. Narrator. 4 friends. One lost town. A house that doesn't forget. What they found was never meant to be seen. What found them was never meant to sleep. Alyssa Keller, 28, a freelance photographer recovering from a recent mental breakdown, decides to join 3 friends. Jake, her ex, Claire, a horror podcast host, and Marcos, a skeptic and aspiring filmmaker, on a trip to document the myth of Blackwater Hill. According to old newspaper clippings, Blackwater was once home to the Winter family, who all disappeared in 1971. Their house still stands. Locals call it the house that watches. Claire wants to feature it on her podcast. Jake wants closure. Alyssa wants distraction. Marcos wants footage. On the way up the hill, they find dead birds scattered across the road and a sign with no text, just scratched wood. Marcos jokes, but none of them laugh. They arrive at dusk. The house is huge but sunken, as though the earth itself is pulling it in. The front door is open. Inside, peeling wallpaper, cold even in summer, and mirrors in every room, none of which reflect them properly. That night, Claire hears whispering from inside the walls. Jake sees someone who looks like Alyssa standing in the hallway, even though she's asleep next to him. The footage Marcos reviews on his camera is all distorted, except for one clip that shows them standing in the living room, mouths open as if screaming, but with no sound. Alyssa wakes up covered in dirt. Her fingernails are caked. No one can explain why. Over the next day, time begins to behave strangely. They wake up at different hours, clocks tick backwards, and sometimes entire conversations repeat themselves. Claire plays a recording she made in the basement. It's filled with static, but one line is audible. One must stay. One must become the house. Alyssa begins to remember things that didn't happen. Conversations, screams, being pulled underground. Jake finds a photograph of the 4 of them nailed to a door frame, but they're wearing clothes they've never owned. Marcos wants to leave, but finds the car keys are melted. Literally. They try to leave the house, but the path back down the hill leads them back to the front porch, no matter which direction they walk. That night, Claire vanishes. Her phone is found in the fireplace, still recording. Jake confesses to Alyssa. He dreamt about the house years before. He never told anyone, but it's the same place. In his dream, someone always dies. He thought if he brought her here, the dreams would stop. Alyssa doesn't respond. She just stares at a mirror. Her reflection is smiling. They find Marcos in the attic, sobbing. He's watching old reels he found in a trunk, footage of people entering the house and slowly going mad. The same footage loops over and over, until the last 5 seconds. The faces change. They're not strangers anymore. They're Alyssa, Jake, Claire, and Marcos. Suddenly, Jake's nose bleeds. Walls begin to crack. The house groans. Alyssa stands and calmly says, "It remembers us now." They try to destroy the house. They set fire to the living room, but it only spreads inside the mirrors. Marcos stabs his own ears, screaming, "Make it stop!" before disappearing entirely. Only his shadow remains, burned into the wall. Alyssa finds a hidden basement door beneath the kitchen. Inside, dozens of dolls, each one whispering in a different language. She finds Claire, alive but different. Claire insists she was never lost, just chosen. The house told her things about Alyssa, about who she really is. Jake attacks Claire, but she doesn't bleed, just disintegrates into dust. Alyssa starts to scream, but her voice isn't hers. It's her mother's. Flashback to Alyssa's childhood. Her mother went missing for 3 days and returned a different person. Now Alyssa understands. She had been here before. Jake dies in the hallway. No wound, no explanation. Alyssa is the only one left, or so it seems. She stumbles into the original Winter family nursery. Names carved into the walls match hers and her friends. A mirror cracks, and from it, a perfect version of Alyssa steps out. Only one of us gets to leave, it says. They fight, not physically, but mentally. Visions, memories, entire timelines collapse into each other. Alyssa is drowning in lives she never lived. Suddenly, silence. Alyssa wakes up on a therapist's couch. No memory of the trip. The therapist smiles. Let's start from the beginning. When did the nightmares begin, Ms. Keller? Alyssa smiles back. But the mirror behind her shows no reflection. No